Hey, y'all. This weekend, Americans and specifically Southerners are going to do one of the things they do best, and that's protests. There are literally hundreds of protests planned across the South in places like Atlanta, Raleigh, Columbia, Nashville, Selma, and so many others through the No Kings protests. The intention of these demonstrations is to draw attention away from President Trump's military parade, which is happening on the anniversary of the U.S. Army's founding. It's also Trump's birthday. So I wanted to talk today about protests in the South, specifically nonviolent protests, focusing on the most impactful demonstrations of the last 100 years, the Civil Rights Movement. You write Civil Rights Movement in capital letters because this is the movement by which almost all others are measured by in America. Because of its patience, its persistence in planning, its attention to detail, its knowledge of how the media works, and its devotion to the idea of nonviolence. Many of the most important moments of the movement happened naturally in the South, in places like Selma, Birmingham, Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and Greensboro, North Carolina. Martin Luther King Jr., a preacher's son from Atlanta, is probably the most famous, most important Southerner of the last 100 years. But it wasn't just him who convinced people of the value of nonviolence, which, by the way, is not an easy thing to teach to people who've been brutally oppressed for centuries. Not all of the protests of the Civil Rights Movement were nonviolent, but most of them were, and it was remarkably effective. To some people, even today, nonviolence makes no sense. As King put it, it is, quote, not a method for cowards. It does resist, end quote. Today, the King Center in Georgia defines King's principles like this. Nonviolence is not a passive protest. It is, quote, active nonviolent resistance to evil. It is, quote, aggressive spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. It's a lot more complicated than a lot of people think of it. It wasn't just King who made the approach work, though. The movement planned protests across the South filled with people who'd been trained, literally schooled in the art of nonviolence. For that, we can partly thank James Lawson, a Methodist missionary in India who witnessed Mahatma Gandhi's nonviolent protest there. King convinced Lawson to move to Tennessee and Vanderbilt University in 1958 to teach nonviolence through King's Southern Christian Leadership Conference, and it was remarkably effective, garnering public sympathy through the media's coverage of nonviolent marchers being brutally attacked by white cops on the road to Selma. The folks behind No Kings are talking about similar ideas today. Organizers told USA Today this week that they've been in touch with police to let them know their plans, and they've been training their protesters in de-escalation and nonviolence. It's an even harder job today, by the way, since people can edit and generate false images of violent protesters with a computer, as some are doing after mass immigration demonstrations in Los Angeles and other cities. If you like this, make sure to sign up for The Living South, a free journalism project created by me, Billy Ball, to talk about the most interesting people and the stories of the South. Find it at theliving south.com. Thanks, y'all.